It's the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. Rob Simpson here, along with Chris Perry over yonder. Down in the corner is Vishal Vatura, and sitting in the basement down there playing video games is Reza Golzadeh. But we're going to shake him loose for some comments here in a second. A little bit of a different deal here today. No stock for Primetime Capital. They're in the cannabis business, or are they in the cannabis business, Chris Perry?
They're in all the cannabis businesses. Those who've been paying attention to the website for a couple of years may recall me as being the first guy on the cannabis bandwagon in terms of public companies and building a good living off that for a couple of years. You may also have noticed I ain't said shit about cannabis in about 2 years. That's because everything got inflated, everything got stupid, and I walked away from it all. Now, that said, love myself a little weed beverage, quite enjoy an edible, very down with the whole psychedelics thing coming forward. I don't remember the last time I had a beer, to be completely honest. So the cannabis business is good, and plenty of people my age are discovering it and even replacing alcohol and opioids, etc., with their product. That's not what's at question. What has been at question for the last 2 years is if you invest in a company that does that business, are you investing at the low end of the valuation or the high end of the valuation? And the answer to almost every question in that respect has been the high end. This is why you're now getting big LPs in Canada that raised hundreds of millions of dollars, built fantastically huge aircraft hangar-sized grow houses, are now closing those grow houses down because they don't have enough money coming in to support the ridiculousness that they constructed to inflate their share price. So why are we talking about Primetime Holdings if this is the case? Glad you asked. Because Primetime didn't come rushing into the markets, grabbing at all the money that it could get. If it had, it would have probably been given another $100 million and a few $100 million valuation, and it would have been a great opportunity for the deal makers to once again hit the eject button and ride their parachute of dollars to the earth. This is not what they want to do at Primetime. Primetime, what they want to do is build the California cannabis company. And by that, I mean the company in California that does business in cannabis in every respect, following pretty closely on the model that Canna Royalty had back in the day, the Origin House, eventually swallowed up by Cresco Labs, which one of the few companies that might be worth having a good look at investment-wise. These guys went into California with money privately, and they saw a couple of opportunities that others haven't really looked at. The primary one amongst them was trading of flower. So by that, I mean, if Rob's grandma is out back in Palo Alto, growing a little bit of kush in the back 40 and does a great job, sends the teenagers in to cut it, now has trash bags full of weed, what does she do next? Well, in California, that's a struggle because you got to find someone to sell it to. Those people that are buying it have to make sure that it's not covered in pesticide. They have to make sure that it's consistent, that there'll be more. And what you end up with is a whole bunch of hobby farmers, hundreds of them, growing product that they really can't do much with. So Primetime's come in and said, we'll buy it all. You give us your crap shit, you give us your good shit, you give us your splendid shit, and we'll take the splendid and we'll turn it into high quality products that we own. And we'll sell it in dispensaries that we own. The moderate stuff, well, that can go as industrial crap. And the low end stuff, hey, maybe they can process it as oil, clean it up a little bit in the process, or just sell it off to somebody else who's in desperate need for some flour and doesn't mind paying an extra few bucks per kilo for it. So what they've done is they've managed to turn this into good business. They're effectively in everyone else's deal as a middleman, but they're also able to make sure that their own products are of a high quality, consistent nature, that they can get all the core product that they need, which isn't easy all the time in California, especially when you're out of grow seasons, and created themselves a bit of reputation. The money that's come in for them early on, I'll say some of it, as I recall, came from Chinese investors, I think, or at least people who have access to same. But right now, this is a business that is doing business. It is an important part of the California cannabis sector. And the fact that it's coming public now, when most cannabis companies are one, dying, two, underfunded, with these guys coming in with just having raised 30 million bucks and looking for acquisition targets. Mwah, it's a chef's kiss of cannabis. I think it's actually a really good deal. The timing is good. I think that these guys are not going anywhere. They're able to pull in all those crappy madmen stores that are over leveraged. They're able to pull in all that easy product that is being scattered all around California up until this point. They're able to control quality products, distribute them well. If they have anything extra, then they flip it off to third party. Honestly, these guys are doing exactly what I would do if someone gave me 30 million bucks and said, go start a cannabis company.
Well, I'm just still having a hard time getting over the fact that you called my grandma.
She's spry for her age.
Vishal, she is. Vishal, I'm looking at you because there's no charts. So we're gonna look at you next, and then we're gonna go quickly around the horn. If there's an IPO, like, if you're gonna get to that point, but what are we doing?
Yeah, so IPOs have been hot at the beginning of the year, and then we had our things sort of like Robinhood, Dunkin' Donuts, I guess Coinbase as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the cannabis one works out. I just want to quickly highlight some of the stuff here that Chris mentioned. But these guys are vertically integrated, so they do their own trading, manufacturing, consulting. This is their retail, and they also own 2 cultivation facilities. But take a look at their retail. I mean, that's pretty high-end stuff. This looks like luxury cannabis to me, man. That would be quite an experience walking there. But going forward, I know, Rob, I know you hold some cannabis stocks. I know a few of us do. It hasn't really been fun lately.
No.
Cannabis has been getting hit. Maybe some hope, and the chart I have here is MSOS, which is the pure US cannabis ETF. And the reason why I look at this is because a lot of people who are bullish cannabis believe that the US side is where the next big cannabis catalyst is going to be with the legalization, or the federal legalization of cannabis. I believe it was a few months ago, Chuck Schumer was supposed to bring that up, but then obviously with the pandemic and other issues, that whole process sort of got delayed and is still getting delayed. But legalization of cannabis, I think, is going to create, and a lot of states have said this, it will create a lot of jobs as well in the states. And, you can look at Colorado as an example. And I think there's some hope today. Chart-wise, I just want to show you that there might be some bottoming here on MSOS. And if you do look at stocks like Cresco, Verano, and Tilray, they're showing some signs of bottoming. But, let's keep an eye out on the MSOS. And hopefully, if this does reverse, that will be the time. It will be a great time for prime time to come out when, you're in an uptrend. But this came out today, which is going to give us some hopes, or give some hope to cannabis bulls. And it's Amazon. Believe it or not, but Amazon, the company, is lobbying the federal government now to legalize marijuana. And they also ended pre-employment marijuana screenings for most job applications. So sort of came out of left field. It wasn't a headline that I would ever think of, but it's happening. So maybe this is the push to get cannabis legalized in the States. So I think this is exciting, and this could bring some support and a bounce here on the cannabis stocks.
And from what we hear constantly, you probably want to be stoned to work there, right? So one of the problems with Amazon. Reza, they call themselves, or they say, from seed to sale. And the sale is a part of it. The retail is at the boutique, their Primetime brand that Vishal made reference to. Boutique, BOUTIQ. It's kind of cool. So are you smoking this ganj, man, or what are you doing here?
Well, I mean, I took a look at the whole thing as well, from the whole seed to sale thing. I even tried to check out their boutique, that's what it's called, store on Google, just to see what people are saying, reviews and stuff like that. Pictures and all that stuff. Not bad. I think companies that the hype, I think, Chris, you covered this a lot as well, when there was that big bubble of that hype. It's kind of died down. There's going to be a bunch of catalysts as we go with legislations and so forth. But the sector now is kind of settled into that growth that those new emerging sectors usually get, right? So who enters it now are the major players, people who are serious, companies that are serious. I do see these guys as being serious because they're trying to do everything. They have something called attention to detail where they consult other people as well. I think that these guys are serious. They're taking this seriously rather than seeing it as an opportunity with opportunists coming into the market and trying to make money off the fact that a lot of people were paying attention to cannabis. Now it's different. The store, the whole branding, everything looks good. You're going to get people talking about them, then people are going to start investing in a company like this. Even though they have an IPO, they're going to be listed, which is always exciting for a company, but it could always turn out to be something that you're not looking forward to, where people come and buy and then start selling very quickly. All in all, I do like the whole fact that these guys have even boutique, like when you go, that has its own color scheme. Things like marketing and things like branding, in my opinion, is very important. You get companies like, for example, Tesla getting so much attention. Were they the first people coming up with the electric cars? That wasn't the case, but they marketed it well. This, again, I think it's too soon to say, but I do like how they're approaching everything, given the fact that they're trying to do everything in that sector. Yeah. So for me, I think it's pretty cool, but we don't have any price action to say how much we can or whatever, but
yeah, we don't know yet. And here's a question, and this is the further along your speculation, Reza, is if any of you guys want to take a wild guess at when and how much for an IPO?
That's kind of a how long is a piece of string proposal. I'd say if you're buying up to $150 million market cap, I think that feels pretty safe to me. If it gets up beyond that, I might want to see what the early action is. But one thing that I always know about IPOs is if you're buying early, you're rarely catching the beginning of the wave. There is always a giant run up for the enthusiasts, followed by some profit taking from those who've been there for a while, and then it builds up again. You look at Coinbase, same thing. You look at Robinhood, same thing. You look at Facebook, same thing. Get into the IPOs the next day. Then you really know where the tide is going. But I think, hey, if these guys were doing another raise before they actually do drop public, I'd be looking to jump into it.
Yeah. When do they think the IPO is actually going to take place?
That's also how long is a piece of string thing with the exchanges. They get a note basically saying, congratulations.
Do we think 2021?
Oh, yeah. Next couple
It'll happen before the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. They're that close.
Yeah. Look, they've been working on it for a year and a half. That's how long I've been talking to them. Yep. So I think they probably wanted to do it earlier, but they've been waiting for their moment and they think this is it.
All right. We can't give you letters, and we can't give you the symbol on the exchange because it's not there yet. So we can just tell you to go to primetimecap.com, spelled the way it sounds, primetimecap.com. There's some information for you on a company that is soon headed to their initial public offering. Thank you very much to Reza, who's downstairs in the basement. You can go back to your video games. Chris Perry down in the corner, well lit in that basement apartment. Shocking. I don't know what he must be growing something down there. And of course, Vishal. Oh no, I'm sorry. Chris is upstairs. No wonder it's so bright. You're up here over here. What am I looking? I didn't look over. Sorry, I looked over and saw the wrong guy. Vishal's in the dark in the basement. Look at that. All right. See you next time on the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.